Cool. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm joined by Ace Perry. How you doing, man?
What's up? I'm well. I'm more than well. I'm more than well.
That's what I want to hear, dude. More than well. I'm so glad we've got you on as well because we've been big fans. And I'll bring him up straight away. We spoke to El Joseph from New Wave a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Who gave you nothing but high praise as well. Like, yeah, we're gonna reach out. You was on our radar anyway, and I thought, right, we're getting all this praise. So I'll start there. Obviously, you're joining into wrestling. You're an Indiana boy. I mean, how's it been working with New Wave Pro?
New Wave, they gave me actually one of my first like outsider bookings from like or outside like bookings from the original promotion that I was like trained by and
Yeah.
I was with anyways, they were like um they've been an important part of my career since I can remember.
Mm.
And they like I haven't done a ton of work for them, oddly enough, but recently, actually, this last Saturday, they had like some studio tapings. That's what
Yes.
everyone's doing now.
Yeah.
So we taped like 3 shows in one day, and I was on a few of their shows recently, and I told them to stay in touch with me because I'd love to do more work with them. But yeah, New Wave, they're good people. Especially in the last couple of years, they've really upped their product
Mm.
and their overall like appearance and their roster. And
Yeah.
Earl, since he's come in with them, Earl's been doing a lot of good things for the promotion as a whole. So I really enjoy Earl and New Wave. Yeah.
Yeah, it blew our mind. Obviously, we spoke to New Wave and we got a message saying, "Oh, El Joseph's going to get in touch with you. He's the guy you'll be speaking to." And then we got El on, and obviously we're British, and this guy comes on. He's got this Liverpool accent. I'm like, hang on a minute, dude. I mean, how have you gone from Liverpool to Indiana? What's going on there, dude? And he was such a cool guy, really laid back.
Yeah.
Said he praised you very, very highly, man. He's coming back on next week, so we'll make sure he praises you again as well.
Okay. He's good people. He's good people.
Yeah, and obviously you are an Indiana boy as well, aren't you? Because I've got to throw it out there, dude. We've been once to Indiana, and I fell in love with the place. It is literally, if I could come back tomorrow, I would come back and never leave. I absolutely,
Really?
yeah, dude. We've got a friend who's from Indiana. We came out for it all in a couple of years ago.
Oh,
So obviously we stayed with him in Indiana for a few nights, drove down to Chicago. But yeah, dude, I fell in love with Indiana. I would come back tomorrow and never leave if I could.
that's awesome because not a lot of people like say that about Indiana. And I obviously born and raised here. I love it. I don't think there's any other place like it. I mean, it's just, a lot of fields and stuff like that and real Midwestern and country, but like that's what I grew up around and that's what I like. So I
That's
don't
what
know.
I
It's
love,
got
dude.
some north, but yeah,
That's
not a lot of people say that though. So thank you for saying that.
oh man, I love and Callum's the same. We're both the same, but that's what I love. Like I said, there was a lot of we was driving to our friend who was from there. He was taking us to his workplace. He works at a bar. We were going to meet some of his friends. And on the journey there, you were going past people's houses, and there's just big fields with like deer in the garden and stuff. And I'm like, man, this is where I want to be. I don't want to leave this place. It's just,
Yeah.
man, so perfect. But
And
speaking of Indiana, we are coming back as well, obviously, hopefully next year. We
okay.
spoke to Cole Radrick a few weeks ago, who's promised to take us to visit some haunted hospitals or some haunted houses or something. So you never know, we might bump into you as well when we're in Indiana. But
Yeah, that sounds right up my alley actually. Let me know.
oh yeah. But speaking of Cole, I know you worked with Cole recently as well. I mean, what's it like working with Cole?
Cole, I actually had I was a part of his second match ever in his professional
Wow.
wrestling career. He and I guess he told me he used to come to some shows that I was on locally and watch me before he got into wrestling, which is mind blowing because we're around the same age or whatever. But
Yeah.
I've been in a few years longer than him. He's come a long way. I'm personally, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily tell him this, but I'm proud of him and how far he's come. But yeah, I don't know. He's he's on the right track. He's got something going on. He's not quite there, but he's on the right track. And every time I get to work with him, it seems like I work with him once a year, and I just get to see like how far he's come and what he's learned from the year prior.
Yeah.
And it's always a pleasure. And actually, I worked with him once in October for Emerge Pro Wrestling, and that was the first time we laid hands on each other in a minute, and it was just like magic. And then again in December for the big Starks brand studio tapings.
Yep.
They just put that out on IWTV, and we were in a tournament first round together, and it was just like, it's easy every time. I like working with Cole.
Yeah, I mean, great guy. He's insistent that he's going to take us to visit loads of haunted places. So I mean, I'm sold, dude. You know, it gets me back to Indiana for a start as well. So I'm totally sold on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But obviously, we've had the pandemic. We're still in the pandemic, I guess. I mean, how has that affected you? I mean, are you still managing to get booked and get work?
Yeah, I've been very grateful that I've been on people's minds to be like on their list, at least within the Midwestern area of the United States, that I've been on their list of people to be like, oh, hey, let's, bring him in or whatever. So I've been very grateful with that. I haven't been hurting for work, but actually like this last month or two has been the busiest I've had since last March.
Yeah.
So, and then like, it's been sprinkled throughout here and there because slowly but surely we've been having shows here and there. But again, very slow in the beginning, but recently it's not 3 or 4 a week like I'm used to, but it's once or twice. So it's slowly but surely. So, but yeah, I haven't had a ton of trouble. Slower than usual.
Yeah.
But very grateful. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the US Indies have kept us going over here because we've not had a show in the UK since March last year, so we're coming to a year now without any wrestling. Yeah, no wrestling whatsoever. Progress are recording again at the moment, but obviously they're still no fans. So we haven't been able to go to a show since last March. So we have literally been binging the US Indies, which have, I mean, obviously with the pandemic, the Indies have really kept wrestling going in the US, I think. I mean, it's the company like GCW and places like that have really stepped up. Is that how you've seen it as well?
Yeah, absolutely. GCW specifically has been the heartbeat of independent professional wrestling during the pandemic. They've kept independent professional wrestling alive, and they've showcased, they have the roster of guys, of course, but they've, like with this recent 24-hour show, they were able to showcase just loads and loads of new talent, and they were able to give that platform to the new talent and new faces so they can get the exposure, whatever. But GCW for sure, they've been the heart of independent professional wrestling the last year now this has been going on. So yeah, and then a couple of other companies, like Beyond and whatever, but GCW for sure has been like the heartbeat of it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what more of the companies that's kept us going. Obviously, you've got the big companies, the AEW, WWE, and all that, but let's say me, and I can speak for Callum as well, we've really been following. I mean, we love the indies anyway, but we've really got to discover a lot more this past year. I guess that's one of the, a good thing to come from the pandemic, is it's allowed us to discover these companies, like you said, GCW, Black Label Pro, companies like that. You mentioned Beyond. It's just something we've been very, very fortunate with over here. And obviously IWTV as well. I mean, how important is IWTV been for you? Because they're putting eyes around the world on the companies, but also on yourself and other talent.
Yeah, IWTV is very important for exposure, obviously. Like you just said, perfect example. Like they've been sending crews out to certain companies that have been running during this, quote unquote pandemic. And people are starving for independent professional wrestling. Like the UK fans, you just said you've been binge watching some US indies, and IWTV who are sending their crew out to the companies that are putting on a few shows here and there. And it just, IWTV, again, they have been an integral part of independent professional wrestling as well, because like I've just said a couple of times, they're sending crews out, hey, go film this, live stream this, that, and the other. exposure, blah blah blah. You know, so they've been very very important as well. Which again, it's mind blowing that I've been able to be a part of some of these live streams and a part of IWTV to, like, in such a hard time, still be able to stay somewhat relevant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
IWTV, they've been very, very important. Yeah.
Same up here though, dude, as well. Like I said, IWTV, I've got my subscription. It's $9.99 a month, and you look at what you get on there. It's insane. The promotions, the talent. Like I said, we're discovering so much. I've got to give another shout out to Synergy Wrestling in New Jersey. It's a company we've really got into as well. We've become really good friends with Colin, who runs the company, and it's another indie. I mean, have you worked with Synergy, or is that somewhere you'd like to go? That kind of area?
Yeah, I actually I was speaking to them for a potential like Tampa spot coming up in April. But I've done one show with them against Kyle the Beast.
Oh
yeah, KTB, yeah. That was probably 2018 sometime, but me and Colin were real cool. So but yeah, I think I've just done one or two Synergy shows in the past. I don't remember. But yeah, I've worked with them before. I like them.
Yeah, oh yeah, Colin's a character. I mean, but we've become really good friends with Colin. He's a guy now, we just Skype every now and then just to chat shit. And I remember the first time we brought him on to talk Synergy, and we must have spoken for about an hour about British television comedy programs before we even just. And then we thought, oh shit, let's talk about some wrestling. And we normally go 20-25 minutes, and like literally about an hour telling us about the British comedies that we watch. So I mean, he was a character dude. He's doing great stuff there, and I'm excited to see what they do Mania weekend as well. And it'd be great to see you on there as well, dude. That'd be something special.
I appreciate that. Yeah, he's got a good mind for what he's doing in the product. So I'm looking forward to it just as a fan.
Yeah.
And to see some of my peers, like, what show they're gonna put on, even if I'm not on it. I hope to just be entertained. But yeah, I was gonna say before I forget, I actually did a small tour of Europe in the summer of 2018, I think it was.
All right.
And I was in England about an hour from Birmingham is where I was staying at, and more like Covington, right?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah. I was in the Covington area, and I was able to work for, what is that? LDN. I was with LDN. I did a couple shows for them.
Yeah. I know what you mean. LDN. Yeah, I know what you mean. LDN. Yes, dude. Yeah. Is that somewhere you'd love to come again then? Also, when the world opens, would you love to come back to the UK?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like I did not even get to scratch the surface over there in Europe. The England specifically. And I was able to do like a small show for IPW UK.
Yes.
And,
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah, so like, but I was only there for like a couple of weeks, and then I was in Germany for a few days. But England specifically, yeah, I can't wait to come back. I got my passport ready, all that. I'm ready. I'm seeing.
Yeah, the thing is as well, dude, we've literally got. There's probably a promotion in nearly every city now as well. I mean, there's just companies popping up everywhere. So I mean, if you came for 2 weeks, you probably want to come for 2 or 3 months. I mean, it's just there's companies everywhere now, and there's some places. I mean, we've got a city called Leeds, which is about an hour away from where I live, and there's about 5 promotions now just in Leeds. So I mean, yeah, dude, you'll be inundated with work when you come back over here.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind.
Dude.
Leeds.
Oh yeah, Leeds. Keep Leeds in mind. But you mentioned we mentioned GCW, Fight Forever. You was a part of it. I mean, what was that experience like?
Again, very grateful.
Sorry, what time did you wrestle as well?
What's that? I'm sorry.
So what time did you wrestle as well? I mean, was you wrestling at a stupid time?
Oh man, it was. I think it was like around 10 a.m., 10:30, something like that. I literally stumbled out of the car at 7:30 in the morning because, driving through all night.
Yeah.
And kind of stumbled into the building, and before I knew it, they were like, all right, put your gear on, this, that, you're up. And so yeah, it was around 10:30 in the morning, earliest I've ever wrestled.
Yeah.
And that was crazy to be a part of, and it was crazy to just like actually be there, and just the constant wrestling that was obviously going on. It was just a spectacle, you know,
Yeah.
literally like in the most endearing way possible, circus like, you know,
Yeah.
literally just like a carnival show of all of these characters in this cast just 24 hours straight, and 2,000 people or 2,000 plus people are watching it on YouTube and fight, and then like there's some people there, like, you know, 15, 20 fans in attendance or whatever, and it was just an experience for sure. I'll never forget it. But yeah, again, very grateful to have been a part of it. But it's just so interesting. That whole weekend, I went, you know, 30 plus hours no sleep, and then seeing all of this, and then like some people I knew, some people I didn't, and it was just so much happening. You know, very cool though.
There you go.
Are you
Sorry,
there?
it froze for a bit. Yeah, it froze for a bit.
Okay, okay. Did you get that
Sorry.
or?
We got that, dude. Yeah, luckily Callum's very good at editing everything, so he'll mash it all together anyway. But yeah, dude, I got that. I got that. It was because I got up early to start watching, obviously, Fight Forever. I came down. I think it was 7:30 in the morning. I was like a kid in a candy store. I was like, I've got all this wrestling to watch. It was just brilliant, you know. I've got so many hours of wrestling. It was fantastic. It really was. But obviously, you mentioned obviously being a part of it. You was part of the big game block with Effy. We've had the chance to speak to Effy, and I mean, I've got my Gay Panic T-shirt today as well, which came today.
I didn't even see that. That's great.
Yeah, it came today. I ordered it a few weeks ago. It came today. I've already tagged Effy in it and Danhausen. Effy's told me I look hot, so I'll take that as a compliment.
Ooh, dang, look at you.
What's it like working with Effy? Because he seems to have such a great mind for the business.
Yeah, he gets it on a whole other level that obviously a lot of people don't, in terms of like social media and the social following and having a presence.
Yeah.
And then like he like working with him is very like the first time I ever worked with him was for Bizarro Lucha.
Yeah.
And we had that one-on-one, and it was literally like we you know, kayfabe or whatever, but we called it like we didn't even call a wrestling match. We just called like 3 or 4 like theatrical like moments, and then we were like, oh, and I guess we'll do a super kick here and there, but we're gonna focus on these things. And I learned so much just from talking to him and like planning those few theatrical moments in our match. Very like I said, there's just no one like him that like gets it.
Yeah.
And that's why he is where he is on such a popular like indie level, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. I know. Obviously, when we spoke to him, he mentioned obviously he has his Twitch stream and stuff, and he's trying to bring people from outside of wrestling who wouldn't necessarily watch wrestling. He's bringing them into wrestling, and I think he's doing a great job of it. He's getting different eyes on the product.
yes, he gets it. He gets it. He does that Twitch thing like every Monday night or whatever, and he's constantly like tweeting and Instagramming and doing all that content. He gets it.
Yeah. He does, dude. Yeah, I mean, he's probably. I mean, I would dare say he's probably the biggest name in the Indies right now. Would you agree?
Oh yeah, at least like easy top 5. Easy.
Yeah, and obviously he's doing such a great job as well. Obviously representing the LGBTQ community as well. He's for want of a better word, he's normalising that being a part of wrestling as it should be. You know, he's doing a fantastic job. You've seen these guys and these girls, and it's an absolute pleasure to watch. It really is, and I think obviously, I mean, I'm a huge fan of Paro, and I think he's a guy who's come along leaps and bounds, and
Yeah,
Effy, another one, it's just doing wonderful, wonderful things for the business.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. He's yeah, I've always obviously been like an ally of the community,
Yeah,
and to finally see like this uproar of like LGBTQ like talent,
yeah,
and specifically led by Effie, and having it showcased the way he's been showcasing it has been so like fulfilling personally for me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's just very very cool to finally see like I said, an uproar,
Yeah,
and in the best way, in the right way, you know.
absolutely, dude. Absolutely. It's a pleasure to watch. And obviously, like I said, I've got the t-shirt on. I love watching Effie and Danhausen as well. I mean, I'm just the amount of hours I've spent this week just watching Danhausen videos on YouTube is scary. I mean, it's an
Their
unhealthy amount
character,
of dude, he's we actually got to speak
yeah.
to him last week and it was just surreal. It's just yeah, it's unhealthy how much I've watched of his videos. Just honestly, dude, it really has been
All
ridiculous.
right, that's all right. That's
But
okay.
I know Callum will kill me if I don't ask you this as well, because one of his favourite promotions is IWA Mid South. Obviously you've worked there. What was that experience like?
Um, yeah, again, I started with IWA pretty early on in my career. I think I started working for them end of 2013 and
Hmm.
beginning of 2014.
Yeah,
And then like I have like certain like runs that I'll do, and I always come back to IWA, where
yeah,
I'll be there for months on end and then take a break, take a few months off and go back because they're weekly. And even right now, they're running like weekly shows.
yeah,
And but yeah, again, a very important part of my career has been IWA Mid South because Ian, whatever people want to say about him, he was one of the first people to go to bat for me
yeah,
and put me in bigger match situations and take me out of the scrambles, take me out of the pre-shows and the tryout matches. And he like showcased to other people, like I guess before, like what I could do. What I didn't even know I could do these things, but he did, and
yeah,
he put me in these situations with these guys like Gary J. Gary J was like one of my first bigger matches actually at IWA, and it's like just a constant. Ian has constantly challenged me like that in bigger
yeah,
match situations, and he's put me in every other type of situation as well. Like even like I've never done a death match, but like hardcore matches.
yeah,
And I'm like, well, Ian, what about? And he's like, oh, it'll be fine. And this, he's just very, he's taught me so much over the years. Like saying it out loud, I'm just now realizing like how much he's actually taught me since 2013 or 2014.
yeah. I was gonna
Just
say
by,
it's obviously been a big impact on your career then.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. And and again, going back to gratitude, very grateful for IWA and Ian. Whatever people want to say about them, they've been a very important part of my career and obviously various others.
Yeah,
The popular ones and the guys coming up right now that are there every week killing it. They're gonna be talking about IWA the way I am and the way these bigger people have, and for years to come. So
yeah, absolutely. Do. Like I said, we spoke to a few people that have worked there, and I know for a fact Callum would have killed me if I never asked you because when he first started getting into US Indies, it was around the early Ring of Honor time, and he discovered IWA. And ever since then, I mean, you mentioned IWA Mid South to Callum, his little face lights up. So I knew, I mean, I love the company, but Callum loves it on a whole another stratosphere.
yeah,
So I thought, I'll ask him for you, Callum. I'll ask him. But you mentioned, you did mention you've never done a death match. I mean, is that something you'd consider? Because we've spoken to a few deathmatch wrestlers lately, and I think it seems to be getting a bit more of a positive vibe about it. It's becoming more of a storytelling art form
yeah,
instead of just beating the shit out of each other kind of a thing. I mean, is that something you'd consider?
100%. Yeah, absolutely. I really, do you know Dale Patrick's, Josh Crane,
Yeah,
those guys?
yeah,
I came up with those guys, a
Right.
couple of my very best friends in the business, and they are obviously, they've been doing death matches for years, and I was around for their very first ones all the way up until now. So like, and I didn't know what to think about it at first, but them educating me on deathmatch wrestling and the history of it, and then watching them do it for years,
Yeah.
I've developed a certain type of respect for it. And you have to. Those guys
Yeah.
are going out there hitting each other with all sorts of things, putting each other through these contraptions. You can't not respect it, in my opinion. And I have loved deathmatch wrestling for years now. And the closer or the longer I'm in wrestling, the closer I'm getting to doing a deathmatch.
Well, I like the sounds of that, dude. I think that's something I want to see. Like you said, we spoke to Casanova Valentine and John Wayne Murdoch a few days ago, and we said the same to them. It's been looked at in a different light, in a more positive light now. I mean, I've always been a fan of it anyway, but like you said, you watch it now with a different appreciation, and they're telling you a story, and
Yeah.
it's something I've thoroughly been enjoying. And Callum himself was never big into it, and he's himself now becoming a big fan, and it's because of these guys, that are putting a more positive vibe on it. So seeing you there, dude, it'd be, I mean, that'd be a treat. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing you and Casanova Valentine squaring up. I mean, he's a big dude.
Oh yeah, I don't know how well that would turn out for me, but I know he's like, I've talked to him just in locker rooms before, and he's a great dude. He's a teddy bear almost, but I don't know if I'd want to stand across the ring from him for like one of my first death matches. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, nothing like being thrown in at the deep end, dude, is there? But
Yeah, you know what? Screw it. Might as well hit him
hell
up.
yeah. Well, you'd certainly have my ticket money, dude. I'd be watching that one for sure. But obviously, we mentioned coming back over to the UK. But I mean, what's in line this year? I mean, 2021. Fingers crossed, we're going to start getting more shows. The fans are going to start coming back. Is the big plans? I mean, obviously Mania weekend, like you said, and further on.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think too far ahead, just because like that's how you worry and stress and stuff like that. So I try not to do that. Just take it day by day, week by week, really. But yeah, looking forward to Tampa. I got a few things in the works. But mostly like the promotions I've been based at regularly, like Anarchy, St. Louis Anarchy.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on they got a new building, and they're that sometime this year they should start their shows back up. Again, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff. AAW, actually based out of the Chicago area, they're they just hit me up recently for a couple of dates, so be on the lookout for that. Anarchy, AAW, and then a lot of the smaller promotions that are still running around. But yeah, again, I'm really just looking forward to Anarchy, AAW, and Tampa for sure within the next few months, I'll say.
Yeah.
And yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, AAW was on our bucket list when we came to All In. I think it was either a week before we got there or a week after we flew home. AAW did a show, so we were absolutely gutted because it's a company we want to see.
yes.
So I mean, what's it like? Obviously, you've worked there already. What's it like being working there? I mean, how cool is it as well? I mean, that Chicago crowd is something special as well.
Man, I just got chills,
Yeah,
literally. Just thinking back to coming out in the Logan Square Auditorium in front of all like those hundreds and hundreds of people, and whether they were booing me, cheering, whatever, they were booing me, but
yeah,
just to get some sort of reaction from them and feel, like everyone talks about Chicago, like the wrestling town
yeah,
for whatever, whether it be WWE that comes through or AEW, whatever. The energy is just different, even on a smaller scale. Like for AEW in Logan Square Auditorium in front of hundreds instead of thousands, is still like you can still feel it. It's
yeah.
just it's indescribable. The Chicago like wrestling scene and performing in front of those people is just I just can't describe it. There's nothing like it, and I can't wait until AEW specifically is allowed to have like to pack a place like that again
Yeah.
and my music hits and I go out and they give me whatever reaction they want to give me. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, I mean, as it was, Vince McMahon once said, any reaction's a good reaction, right? So I mean,
Yeah,
whether the
yeah,
booing or cheering do, but yeah, like I say, we did All In, and I've always wanted to be a part of a Chicago crowd, and when we got there, just walking through the door, the building was shaking.
yeah,
10,000 fans felt like 100,000 fans, and I had
yeah,
goosebumps as soon as I walked through the door. It was just on a whole nother level, man. It really was. I mean, so I guess it's safe to say you're missing the fans then.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. It's just like for example, for not to ramble too much, but the New Wave, for their studio tapings this
Yep.
couple days ago, um, they didn't have any fans or anything like that, but they had like some plus ones or like some crew that were
Yep.
in the crowd, to act as, fans for the noise and stuff. And they filmed it in an armory. And I
Right.
don't know if you've ever been like an armory or a Salvation Army center,
Yeah. Yeah.
but the
Yeah.
sound,
Yeah.
it echoes.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's more people than what there actually are. And those people were being such a great crowd for us. Like it felt like I was just right at home, like in front of a crowd again. And I couldn't stress to Earl enough specifically like how good of a job these people were doing being a crowd,
Yeah.
because it like as a performer, it just lit me up again, and I felt right at home. So the fans just make you, it's hard to explain, but they just make you feel like right at home, and then you're just able to, okay, this, that, and the other, and this bump doesn't feel as bad, and all that.
It's yeah, man. Yeah, from a fan point as well. I mean, there's nothing like it for me being in the middle of a crowd and being amongst other wrestling fans. That atmosphere, you're part of something special. A lot of people don't like wrestling. Like, oh, you still watch wrestling, blah blah blah. And I say to them, come and watch it and be in that crowd and feel the energy. There's nothing like pro wrestling on the face of this planet. And I'll say that
Yeah,
till the day that I die. I truly will. It's the greatest thing in the world, man.
yeah.
Before we start to wrap up as well, I have to ask, because we spoke to this guy a while ago, and you got to team with Jimmy Jacobs at some point. What
Hmm.
was that like? Because he's another guy who I think gets, he's very underrated for his mind for the business. I mean, what was it like
Oh.
teaming with Jimmy?
Excuse me again. I started working with Jimmy in around 2014. IWA is when I got put with him, and I mean he's just the same in a wrestling sense as he was then, as he is now. Because I mean, back then he was he's taught me so much about emotion,
Hmm.
story, and just really like pulling certain things out of me. Like I I can't really describe it, but I'll do my best. He's the smartest man I've ever had the privilege of working with, in professional wrestling ever.
Yeah.
And I've stood by that since 2014. And again, like you said, I just recently got to work with him, and it's the same now. Like like just to give you an example, like he was wanting me to call the match, and I was like, okay, he must trust me or something. I'm still, even though me and Jimmy have a rapport and things like that, and know each other, I'm still kind of like, okay, okay, yeah, yes, sir, yeah, okay, Jimmy, okay, and so I was putting it together, blah 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 blah, and I guess he just wanted to hear some of my ideas so he could have something better. Or like that would like my ideas would kickstart something way more superior in his brain to take it this direction, whereas I
Yeah.
was thinking he wanted to go this way and he went this way. And I just, every time I get to work with him, I learned something new, because like whenever I was putting it together like this, he was like, he went this way, and I was like, it was right in front of me. I don't know
Yeah.
why, and I should know this by now, but and I learned something new like every time I even speak to him. I even have a conversation with him. I'm so, I don't know how I got so lucky to get to know him the way I have, and for Ian to have put me with him.
Yeah.
But however it's worked out, I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful.
Yeah, I say that he's such an underrated mind. He doesn't get the credit I think he deserves. I mean, he's doing fantastic. Look at Impact Wrestling at the moment. He's on the writing team. I think they're putting out some of the best wrestling in the world at the moment. You know, and he's a part of that team. And
Yeah.
we actually, when we spoke to him, our best viewed segment was actually a Jimmy Jacobs segment, where we asked him if he'd ever sneezed around Vince McMahon. So I mean, obviously, he got a lot of views because of that. But he was just so cool. He did tell us a Vince McMahon story though. Apparently the whole sneezing thing is true. If you sneeze around Vince McMahon, apparently he brings a invisible shield down like so. Yeah. So there's a.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Very interesting.
Jimmy told us that because obviously you work with Vince McMahon, you hear the sneezing stories, you have to ask that question. But apparently Triple H sneezed in front of Vince and Vince brought down an invisible shield. So it's a true story. There you go.
Everyone has their own thing. I don't know. That's very interesting. All right.
Before we wrap it up, dude, first of all, I'd love you to come back because this has been an absolute pleasure doing it. I know Callum will want to be on the next one as well, so we'd love to get you back, dude, if that's cool with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anytime. We'd love it, dude, honestly. And before as well, tell everyone where they can find you, social media, any merchandise. If there is any upcoming shows, let everyone know.
Okay. At Ace Perry Indy, INDY, are my Twitter and Instagram. I do have a Facebook, Ace Perry. I'm not on there as much. Let's see what I have a Pro Wrestling Tees / Ace Perry. I actually just submitted a new design, so I'll have about 4 different designs up on there. Come probably Monday, I'll have the 4th one up. And shows, Tampa, be on the lookout for that. And again, AAW and St. Louis Anarchy. Be on the lookout for those few. And you should see my name pop up. So.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, I know for a fact, hopefully it'll probably be next year. But like I said, we're going to come back to Chicago, Indiana. Elle's invited us to New Wave as well. Obviously, we're going to see Cole. So fingers crossed, dude. We'll get to see you and share a beer or something as well.
Absolutely.
But like I said, dude, we'll definitely get you back. And I can't tell you this enough, dude. We've been watching you work, and you are a megastar, man. There's big things coming. It's an absolute pleasure to watch you work, dude. It really is.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying that. Thank you.
Anytime, dude. But for now, Ace Perry, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jamie. I appreciate it.
Anytime, dude.